Post a picture of your project with hashtag Club Crochet for a chance to win a free 30-day membership to clubcrochet.com.
Hey there, I'm Louie, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet this little fairy in a bottle. So in this video I can't really explain how to crochet it this tiny because it's made with thread. So I'll be making everything a little bit larger. But if you want to make it this small, if your jar is this small of a jar, and you want to make it that tiny, you'll need the following materials. You'll need a very small crochet hook. This is a size 1.25 millimeter crochet hook and some thread. You'll need to use thread for crocheting it that small. But that's going to be kind of hard to show you in this video. So you might be able to get away, because you might have a slightly larger jar. You might be able to get away with using worsted weight yarn, which is what I did to crochet this version of the fairy. So in this video, I'm going to be using worsted weight yarn in pink and white and a size G crochet hook. But again, if you want to make it this tiny, if you need to make it this tiny for this size of a jar, use thread and a size 1.25 millimeter crochet hook. Okay. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make it this size instead. And yeah, let's get going. We're going to start with the wings. So to start, there's two different size wings that we're going to have to make. We're going to start by making the slightly larger wings. So for both these wings, you'll need white yarn. So here I have my white worsted weight yarn. And we're going to make a slip knot. There we go. And we're going to chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And at this last chain, you want to pull it just slightly tighter. And we're going to be working into the back loops, meaning the loops on the back here. You can see it's kind of like a spine of loops. We're going to be working into those. So we're going to skip the first one, which would be that one right there. And we're going to work into this second one. Get your crochet hook into that back loop. There we go. And we're going to start by making a slip stitch. Okay. And then we will make in the second chain right here, we're going to make a single crochet. Okay. In the third and fourth chains, we'll be making a half double crochet, meaning you yarn over, then go into the chain, pull a loop through, and then pull another loop through all 3 loops on the hook like that. So we're going to make 2 half double crochets, and you should only have 1 stitch per chain. Okay. In these last 2 chains here, we want to put a single crochet into both of them. Ooh, if I can. There we there we go. So you can imagine how difficult this is to do with thread. It's very tough. You need to be very patient. So once you have all those stitches done, we can chain 1, cut, leaving somewhat of a long end. You just need enough so you can sew it on the inside of the pink body when we make it, and pull it through just like that. And that's going to be how we make our larger wings. We'll put that to the side. Now we have to make our smaller wings, which look like this, and they're pretty easy to do. So we'll make another slip knot, leaving just a little bit of an end. And you want to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Pull the last chain a little tighter. Skip our first chain, and working into the second chain from the hook, we want to do a slip stitch. Again, we're working into the back loops, just like how we did the bigger wings. So there's our slip stitch. And into the next chain, we want to do a half double crochet. Okay. There we go. And then we can cut the yarn and chain 1 and pull it all the way through. Again, you want these just long enough so you can sew it in the inside. And there you go, there's our small wings. Now before I get going on the pink body here, I wanted to say that this pattern is brought to you by I have a whole set of crocheted Link characters. Here I have Link, Sheik, we have Zelda, we have a Boko Goblin, and a Hinox. And I'm working right now on a Ganon pattern. So this bundle is actually available at clubcrochet.com/Zelda. And in the bundle, not only will it teach you how to crochet all these different characters, but it'll also teach you how to crochet them into finger puppets. So you could have little finger puppet versions. So you can see they're all finger puppets. There you go. So those are all available at clubcrochet.com/Zelda. The Ganon pattern isn't finished just yet, so the whole bundle isn't available just yet, but it will be very, very soon. And on that page, you can join an email list so you can get notified when that whole bundle is available. All right, so let's place these guys to the side. The Hinox pattern isn't available yet either because it takes a long time to write this pattern. And every pattern in that bundle comes with a full-length video tutorial, just like this one, so you can learn every step of the way. All right. Let's continue on to the body now. So with the body, you're going to need pink yarn here. And we're going to start with a magic loop. But you can go ahead and do a chain 2 if you'd rather. Okay. And into the magic loop or into the chain 2, you want to single crochet 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you're working with thread, don't crochet too tight. It's already going to be really difficult, and if you crochet really tight too, it's going to be nearly impossible. Now we're going to pull this loop a little tighter. We're going to find that loop right here. There it is. And pull everything just a little tighter. Tighten that loop up. Okay. So that's the end of round 1 for the body. For round 2, we're going to be working in the round, meaning that we will not turn around for the entire piece. And in round 2, we're going to be working an increase into each stitch all the way around. So here's our first stitch. And an increase just means we're working 2 single crochets into each stitch. And by doing an increase in each stitch, there should be 6 increases total. You'll end up with 12 stitches by the end of round 2. Okay. There we go. Just a few more increases. And again, you can imagine how difficult this is to do on the super miniature level. Okay, last increase right here. Okay, and that's going to be the end of round 2. For round 3, you'll work a single crochet into the first stitch. A single crochet into the first 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then an increase in the next. 4 and a 5. And you'll repeat that 3 times total to end up at 15 stitches around. So let's do it again. We'll single crochet 3. 1, 2, 3, and then do an increase. 4 and a 5. Actually, that's a 9 and a 10. And one more repeat. 1, 12, 13, and then our last increase right here. 14 and a 15. All right. That's the end of round 3. For your next 3 rounds, you'll just be working a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. So there should be 15 stitches into each round, and just work a single crochet into each stitch all the way until you get to 3 rounds of just regular old single crochets. And I'll go ahead and fast forward to when I have these 3 rounds finished, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I've just finished up our 3 rounds of just single crochets. I believe that's round 6. For round 7, we'll be working a single crochet into the first 3 stitches. We're basically doing the opposite of round 3. So we'll do 3 single crochets. And then we'll be working an invisible decrease. If you didn't know what an invisible decrease is, you get your crochet hook, place it into the front loops of the next 2 stitches, like that, and then proceed to make a single crochet by pulling the loop through those 2 front loops, and then finish up the single crochet. And that's going to be an invisible decrease. And you're going to repeat that process 3 times total. So here, that's our first time. So again, we do 3 single crochets, 1, 2, and 3, and then an invisible decrease into the front loops of the next 2 stitches, and work a single crochet. And one more repeat right here. And now's the time that I would ask, if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, please consider subscribing down below. And if you click that little bell icon, you can get notified whenever I post new patterns just like this. Okay. And if you can, also please like the video down below. Okay, so that's going to be the end of round 7. Now before we start round 8, we're going to sew on our fairy wings. So first we want to start by sewing on our long fairy wings. So we just grab the longer end here. And if you're making this in the miniature version, you're going to want to use a larger, a smaller needle than this, but since we're not making it that tiny, we can use this larger needle. And you want to put it on the back and just choose a stitch to the right of our end, so like right around here. Pull it through and see how that's the top of the tail. And then grab the bottom of the tail, thread it with the needle. Oopsies. And we're going to go into the stitch directly below and towards the end of your round. So this would be below and away from the end of the round, and this would be below and towards the end of the round. And it'll be the opposite way for the other wing, which I'll show you in just a bit. And you want to make sure that the knots are pulled through on the inside. See how those little knots are pulled through? And then we can just double knot it. 1 and 2. And we can cut. And now I'll show you where to place the other wing. The other wing should go a few stitches over to the right. On this one, I made the other wing, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6 stitches away. So let's grab our other wing. And we're going to thread the top of the wing. Let's count over that many stitches. 2, 3, 4, 5, and looks like it was right here. Yeah, that seems about right. We'll pull it through. And again, you want that end to come through. And this is what I mean by we'll be working towards the other side. So we thread our bottom of our bottom tail here. And we want to work on the stitch below and towards the end of your round. So that would be this way for this side. And make sure those knots are pulled through, and we can double knot it. Okay. Cut, throw those to the side. Now we can add our lower wings, and the lower wings are going to be relatively simple to do. It's the same kind of situation where we want to thread the top, so the top would be this one, onto a needle. And the top of the lower wing should go exactly where the bottom of the upper wing, knot went. So we're going into that same exact stitch, but make sure it's closer to the knot. So on this wing, it would be closer on this side, and on this wing, it would be put in through this side. You see what I mean? So if I went through this side, it would be incorrect. So we're going to place it on that side. Pull it through so that the knot pokes through. We're going to thread the bottom of the lower wing and go through the stitch directly under the round under towards the end of the round, just like that. Okay? And again, pull it through enough so that both of the knots poke through. There we go. And we can double knot it on the inside. There we go. And cut those ends. Don't really need them anymore. Throw those to the side. And I'll go ahead and do our last wing. And as I'm doing that, I just want to just chat for a sec. I've been playing a lot of the new Zelda game, Breath of the Wild, and I really, really enjoy it. My girlfriend has been kicking butt on it. She beat it like so quick. I'm still working on it. I don't want to face Ganon just yet. I don't know. I do this thing in video games where I wait till the very end of the video game, and sometimes I never even beat it because I just don't want it to end. Let me know what you think about the new Breath of the Wild in the comments. I read every single one. And let me know if there's any specific Zelda things that I haven't made that you'd like me to make and you'd like to see a pattern for. All right. So we've got our 2 wings on just like that. We could tweak them just a little bit. And now let's work on our final round of our body. Get your crochet hook in there. All right. And for our final round, you want to decrease into each stitch all the way around. You can either do invisible decreases or you can do sharp decreases. Now, because I've already shown you an invisible decrease, I'll show you what a sharp decrease is. For a sharp decrease, we'll go into the next stitch just like that, pull a loop through, and then go into the next stitch, so just like this one, pull another loop through, and pull that second loop through the 2 on the hook. That's going to make a sharp decrease, which pulls it in very rapidly. It makes it easier to sew it together when we get to the end. Again, you can use invisible decreases here if you'd like. I sometimes just like doing sharp decreases because it makes a very flat end and makes it a little bit easier to sew it all together. I definitely like doing that when I make my little pod people, which is what I call my amigurumi pieces like this. I like making it a sharp bottom so that they sit flat. Okay, here's our last one. Okay, here's our last decrease. And we can cut the yarn, leaving enough of an end to sew it closed, and just pull it all the way through. Okay. Now we can stuff it a little bit. You won't need very much stuffing, especially if you're making it really tiny. For this size, this actually might be too much stuffing. That would be good. If you're making the little one, you need like less than that amount of stuffing. You need like that much stuffing. You can even use just some old yarn. And for this larger one, I'll be using a pencil to stuff it in, pushing down with the eraser side. If you're making it with the thread, use something like this. This is just a toothpick. The top is painted because I used it for a wand for Harry Potter. But if you use just one of these little bits, it'll be easy to poke in the stuffing. But yeah, we'll just stuff it a little bit. You don't want it too stuffed. You don't want to be able to see the stuffing through the stitches, so don't overstuff it. Even that was kind of pushing it right there, the amount of stuffing I just put in it. Make sure the wings are facing the right way. And we'll thread the end of our piece, and we're going to just sew it closed. The way I sew things closed is very unique. I have a full video for this, but I'll just show you really quick. I count up from our first stitch. So here's our first stitch. We count up 3. 1, 2, 3. Go into that stitch and come out through where we made our last stitch right there. And we're basically making an asterisk. You want to pull it almost all the way through, go in through the next stitch over, and then out through the one across from it. And we'll pull that first one a little tighter. Boom. Next stitch, and across. And then our final stitch is going to be, make sure not to pull this too tight. Our final stitch is going to be right to the, a little bit over from that last one right there. And then we can pull it tight once you're into that stitch. We can go through. You can use this end to sew on a keychain if you wanted to make this fairy into a little keychain, which would be kind of cute, you know? You could always have an extra life on you, just in case. I should make a little one-up mushroom as well. Put it in one of these things. All right. And I just go through the bottom just like that, and I cut it on the inside. And now I'll show you how I placed it into the jar. So there we go. We have a little tiny crocheted fairy. So that's the main part of how to crochet the fairy. Now to put it into the jar, what I did was I took the cork out, and all I did was I grabbed some tape. Here you can see the tape, and I used a little bit of oh, I don't have it in here, but I used a little bit of fishing line. There you can see the fishing line right there, and I threaded it on a needle, and I poked it through the tape on both sides. Okay, and I went through the inside of our fairy here and through the tape, and then I taped it onto the bottom, and I made sure that the ends of the fishing line were poking out the sides. So you can see the ends of the fishing line there, and that way I could pull the fishing line just a little tighter to make it the perfect length. And then when I had it the perfect length, I cut the fishing line, and then I just lightly placed it into the jar. And it's cool because it floats and it moves with every step that you make, and it like kind of vibrates. Here, I'll show you. If you'll sit still for just a second. Yeah, it's kind of hard to show, but it is cool. I'm really, really happy with this. I'd like to put a little light on the bottom so it lights up a little bit. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, again, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. And if you press that little bell icon, you'll be notified when I post new patterns. And if you want to check out all these Legend of Zelda patterns, go to clubcrochet.com/Zelda. And that's where I posted all of the patterns. And you can buy them each individually or buy a bundle with all the patterns included. Ganon's not here yet. I've got to make him later tonight. But I'm pretty excited to make Ganon. Yeah, and each one of these patterns comes with a full-length video tutorial just like this one. And it teaches you how to turn it into little finger puppets. Oop. Thanks again for watching. Pasta la pizza. And happy hooking. Let's use the Boca Goblin to say bye.
Bye.